Throughout the entire Dexter series, various seasons have introduced us to amazingly well written characters, so much so that even the seasonal antagonist could be considered one's favorite aside from Dexter. It's safe to say that for the entire 10 seasons, if you include New Blood and Original Sin, many people have felt a strong connection to particular characters and the way they were portrayed by their actors. In today's video, I will be going over my personal thoughts and opinions in regards to whom I think was the most defining and attention-grabbing characters throughout all the seasons in the Dexter franchise. Starting off with season 1, which aired all the way back in October of 2006, we have a lot of solid characters to choose from. One of the closest runner-ups to being the best character of this season is obviously Dexter. In the first season, we are introduced to him as our protagonist with his dark but almost comedic internal monologue that allows us to even relate to him to a certain extent. However, aside from Dexter, there was one person who I can wholeheartedly say stole the season in terms of grabbing people's attention, and that person is Brian Moser. The show introduces him as a prosthetics doctor at first until we uncover that he's not only the ice truck killer but also Dexter's blood brother. His character is charismatic but terrifying to say the least, as he simultaneously involves himself within Dexter's life through the use of Deb, who he dates. Now, most people could argue that Brian isn't only the best character of season 1 but actually the best antagonist in the entire show, and honestly, I don't blame them. As well, he is one of the only antagonists that could actually make you feel a sense of sadness upon his death, even in the slightest, earning him a spot as the best character in season 1. When it comes to season 2, there are quite a lot of really good characters that are present. One honorable mention is Special Agent Frank Lundy, who made his introduction upon the opening of the Bay Harbor Butcher case. His presence is threatening towards Dexter and is portrayed by his actor in such a way that could make one think twice of whether or not he actually knows the truth behind Dexter. Although at this point, his character isn't entirely fleshed out, as he abruptly leaves towards the end just to return back in season 4 for the Trinity investigation. One character in particular that defined this season is none other than James Stokes himself. In season 1, it was heavily implied that he and Dexter would have a rivalry in the second season, but nothing could have prepared me for how it went down. The back and forth between these two characters is hilarious to say the least, and also created some of the most popular scenes in the entire show. His character also allowed for Dexter to really open up for the first time to someone whom he didn't actually end up killing, so much so that he almost made Dexter consider the idea of turning himself in. His grueling death in conclusion wins him the title of best character for season 2, standing out a little bit more than the others. Moving on to season 3, there honestly are not a lot of characters that stand out for me that scream they are the best. Interesting characters like Rita and the introduction of Quinn do set up somewhat interesting dynamics for the season, but by far the most memorable character to have come from this season is yet again another antagonist, Miguel Prado. The season first introduces him as this hotshot district attorney who has made a name for himself within the justice system. However, upon the accidental death of his brother caused by Dexter, he becomes enraged. Looking to handle legal faults with his own hands, he crosses paths with the guilty Dexter, who eventually teams up with him to take down bad guys. This creates a really interesting dynamic that we didn't see before, with Dexter having a friend who knows him for who he really is. But as we know, this would go south as Miguel loses control, eventually leading to his demise in the hands of Dexter. His character was undoubtedly the highlight of the season and created a few iconic moments within the series, earning him the top spot for characters within season 3. Now, season 4 is widely acclaimed by most fans as the best season of Dexter, and that is partially because of the wide range of great characters that are involved. A close runner-up that almost takes the spot of greatest has to be the Trinity Killer, aka Arthur Mitchell. Aside from Brian Moser, he's argued to be the best villain in the entire series due to his disturbing actions and kill rituals, perfectly portrayed by actor John Lithgow. The only character that is stopping me from putting him as the best is none other than Dexter Morgan himself. If I had to choose which season Dexter was at his peak, I would have to go with season 4. In this season, we see him have to balance his dark passenger alongside his relationship with his family and newborn baby, Harrison. This creates highly entertaining dynamics and also directly ties into Arthur Mitchell's ability to blend in with society due to his picture-perfect family. In this season, he's chasing his biggest threat yet, and it's apparent just how skilled Dexter has come to be in regards to previous seasons. This is the reason why Dexter slightly overtakes the spot of best character in season 4 over Trinity, who was almost as memorable. Following season 4's dramatic and life-changing finale, season 5 introduces us to a whole new set of characters. One honorable mention is the main season protagonist, Jordan Chase. Jordan Chase was the twisted motivational speaker who began to have a rivalry with Dexter as he got closer to taking him out. Now, this might be controversial, but I think the one character that takes the lead ahead of Jordan Chase is Lumen. Although I can understand that fans were upset upon her character's abrupt departure, which sort of felt like she used Dexter, she is undoubtedly the highlight of the season and the whole reason as to how Dexter is able to take down this group of depraved men. She creates this almost new angle to Dexter having essentially an assistant in his kill room, and it differentiates itself from him and Miguel's dynamic, mostly due to the fact that Lumen has more of a sense of control and also suffers from extreme PTSD despite her ever wanting for revenge. The actor that portrays her did a very good job and also came onto the show with a wide array of previous acting experience. This earns Lumen the spot of best character for season 5 and is who, in my opinion, defines this season as a whole. In season 6, we get to see characters like Joey Quinn get more fleshed out than they were in previous seasons. He is a character that provides interesting dynamics that include Deborah and his eventual suspicions towards Dexter's dark secret. However, one character that outshines Quinn and that I think we can agree should have lived longer is none other than the man himself, Brother Sam. Sam is introduced within the storyline as Dexter is getting leads on his next victim. His role within this season was crucial, especially considering all the religious connotations emphasized by him and the main antagonist, Travis Marshall. He is by far, in my opinion, the only character to truly almost cure Dexter of his dark passenger, and as well, the relationship that is created between them is just so refreshing to see on screen, mostly considering it being widely acclaimed as the worst season of Dexter due to its obvious plot twists. His death is actually one of the sadder deaths to have come out of the show, especially following season 4, and is what makes him the most notable character of this season. When it comes to season 7, we are introduced to Dexter's new love interest, Hannah McKay, who, hot take, isn't the worst character of all time. From what I remember when I watched season 7, I actually didn't mind Hannah all that much, and in fact thought she brought something to Dexter that we hadn't seen in a while, which was a real love interest that is simultaneously a killer like Dexter. However, I would be lying if I said she was the best character, because that belongs to the man himself, Isaac Serco. Although he starts off as this antagonist who's able to take down multiple cartel members all alone, we slowly get to see this more soft side to him that is human, which then goes on to create this unexpected duo between him and Dex that really marks the season. He is by far one of the most underrated characters of the show and really saved season 7 from being boring due to his highly threatening presence. This fairly wins him the spot of best character in season 7, overshining all the other characters that were introduced at the same time. Now, season 8 of Dexter, aka the final season, has a wide array of disliked characters that are argued to be out of place by Dexter fans. However, if I were to give the best character besides Dexter in this season, I would give it to Zach Hamilton. At first, he's introduced to us as this sadistic killer with no moral ethics behind his killings. But as the season progresses, we learn he abides by a similar code to Dexter's, leading him to mentor Zach into following the carefully crafted code of Harry. We get some interesting scenes that almost resemble a father-son relationship between the two, with some preferring their dynamic over Dexter and Harrison's. I could even go on to say that his character was wasted potential due to his abrupt death caused by the brain surgeon. This is the main reason why I was hesitant to put him as the best character, but honestly, aside from Dexter, it wasn't really anything good about this season in general, making it hard to have a conclusive best character in mind. Dexter New Blood, aka Season 9, which was a spin-off release nearly 6 years after the original series ended, brought with it a completely new cast of characters aside from Dexter. Now, considering most of the characters in this season are against our main protagonist, it's difficult to say there's a best character other than Dexter. His character at the start was really strong for me and was interesting to see how he had been doing for the past 10 years. However, my opinion changed towards the end when they butchered his character by killing Coach Logan and then asking his own son to kill him, thinking that would make matters better. This is why I controversially have to give best character to Deborah Morgan, who is now his ghost due to her death. Although she can be quite annoying at times, I found her to be simultaneously hilarious when randomly popping up and completely disrespecting Dexter. She, in my opinion, is the best ghost Dexter has had, and was actually really entertaining to watch compared to someone like Harry, who we had gotten used to over the years. More recently, we were introduced to a new cast of characters replacing the actors from the original series for the prequel Dexter Original Sin. Up until around episode 7, I was genuinely amazed by the main antagonist of the season, Captain Spencer. He was able to portray himself as such a good guy within the precinct that even I for a moment believed what we were seeing wasn't real. In my opinion, it heavily reminded me of Trinity with the way he was right there in the open and acted as if he was a family man. However, what limits him is the way they ruined his character towards the finale. I mean, you're really telling me he went through things like killing children to torturing his own just because his wife had an affair? To me, this was lackluster and completely killed everything I liked about him within moments. This is why I have to give best character to Dexter Morgan, portrayed by Patrick Gibson. At first, I had doubts about his acting for this character that is so touched upon by the likes of Michael C. Hall. However, as the season progressed, I quickly became a huge fan of his character and thought his screen presence was really there. His movements are pretty similar to the Dexter we know and love, and as well was really interesting to see a young Dexter Morgan navigating through the challenges of coming to terms with his true self. Now remember, these are mostly based on my personal preferences, and I can totally understand if you feel different in regards to my picks. For some of these seasons, the obvious pick is Dexter himself, but I wanted to try and give other characters a chance to shine. If you want to support the channel more, go check out my Patreon linked in the description below and see if any of the perks interest you. As well, be sure to join the Discord to come have a chat. If you enjoyed this video, I would greatly appreciate it if you liked and subscribed, and as well, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.